For this video, I would like to share with you the books, reviewers, and resources that I use to pass the Librarians Licensure Exam. So there's a storm today, that's why I'm at home because work is suspended. And just bear with this video because it's kind of dark, and you might hear a little rain in the background. So I took the Librarians Licensure Exam in 2015, and some of these resources might be outdated. I also included some books that are about the basics of each subject, so they might still be useful. I enrolled in a review center for my review. So if you are enrolled in a review center, usually they have their own materials and resources prepared by their instructors. I think that's one advantage of enrolling in a review center. So if you have friends from other batches or if some of your classmates are enrolled in review centers, you can try borrowing their reviewers and photocopying them just to have some extra material to study with. I will be showing you some books and links to where you can buy them in Shopee or Lazada. However, some are published by foreign authors. I actually read them from our university library, but I will try to include links to where you can buy them on Amazon. For the Librarians Licensure Exam in the Philippines, one of the most popular reviewers are the complete reviewer for the Librarians Licensure Examination edited by Juan Buenrostro. So it has a lot of volumes. I think the latest volume is volume 7, but as for 2020 to 2021, they haven't released a new edition yet. This edition is actually 2015. So if you have this in your university library, you can borrow it and try answering the practice exams. However, I've noticed that throughout the volumes, some questions are repeating. However, if you're just for the practice exams, it can still be useful. And another reviewer from a local author that I like is the Librarians Licensure Examination Reviewer by Florbelia Cedillo Bongalos. So this is actually something that I like. It has a few review notes for each subject, and each subject has around 200 questions, and the questions are well written, so it can really help you practice in taking the multiple choice questions. The author is a board exam top-notcher, so this gives it some credibility on its quality. But I can't find it online as of the moment. I actually bought this one in the CNE bookstore here in my city. However, I think the bookstore is closed. But if you have a CNE near you, maybe you can ask them if they still have this book. And another local book, because indexing and abstracting is said to be the most difficult subject in the board exam. So if you are having difficulty in this subject, this is the book that I would recommend. So this book is Indexing and Abstracting Made Easy by Juan Buenrostro. So I like this one, and I also teach this because I'm teaching this subject. It really explains the concepts of indexing and abstracting in a simple manner. So I would really recommend this. But if you are looking for a more in-depth book to understand better the concepts of indexing and abstracting, I would recommend the book by Cleveland, which is the Introduction to Indexing and Abstracting. As for other subjects like management, reference, selection and acquisition, cataloging, and information technology, I tried to look for books in our university library because we have our own library science section. So I will show you some of the books that I actually read and used for my review. For selection and acquisition, this book is actually quite good. So this is the Fundamentals of Collection Development and Management by Peggy Johnson. So other students that I've encountered who also took the board exam also recommended this book. As for cataloging, a lot of people also find that subject difficult. So I recommend trying to find basic books on cataloging. So the books I actually used are Introduction to Cataloging and Classification by Arlene G. Taylor, and RDA is a new standard in libraries. The book I would recommend for that is Introducing RDA, A Guide to the Basics. For the reference subject, I would recommend Learn Reference Work by Mary Gosling. So I also used this book when I was teaching reference and information services. As for the subject Information Technology, there were a lot of questions about trends in computers and information technology. So I think for this subject, you need to have a grasp of the basics of computers and information technology, but also read up on the latest trends and technologies when it comes to computers. As you can see, I didn't just rely on the reviewers. When I had time, I tried to find books that would really apply to what I am studying. But keep in mind, I had 1 year to review for the board exam because I graduated April 2014 and I took the board exam April 2015. So that was a lot of time. Another disclaimer is I'm a fast reader, so I had time to read these books. But for example, if you are running out of time, I would recommend really focusing on practicing taking the exam, like really giving time to answering those reviewers and questions, because the most important thing to study in the board exam is that you really need to know how to deduce the correct answer out of all the choices if you encounter a question that you really have no idea about. So I actually have a playlist of board exam tips, and I also have one video for tips on how to answer questions that you really have no idea about. Aside from that, I also tried to search online for online courses and resources and what I can use to enhance my knowledge about the subjects. However, I really can't have a clear recommendation for you because every exam is different. Other batches say that this subject is difficult, and the board exam for another year, some would say that this other subject is more difficult. So it really depends on what the board exam will be. My board exam in 2015 might be a little different from what will appear this year. So for the board exam, I think it's just a matter of mastering the basics, being familiar with all the subjects, having a good skill in answering multiple choice questions, and also being aware of what is new in the profession. So I think that's all for this video. If you have more questions about librarianship, about the board exam, I can answer them in the comments down below. So please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel for more videos about librarianship.